hope you see now my presentation. So it's about parents' responsibility in children's social and academic achievement. First, I would like to discuss about the role of the parents, primarily as models. So first, for you that might not know, there are three major theories of learning. So one is conditioning, which basically means that these are mechanisms in which behavioral response becomes more likely due to certain stimulus. So in classical conditioning, certain responses paired with some stimulus. For example, when you eat some things that make you sick, next time you eat the same food, you will also probably feel the same. So this is basically classical conditioning, and there is also operant conditioning that basically is a reward and punishment system in which reward increases the likelihood of some behavior and punishment reduces it. So this is the first way how we learn stuff. Second one is cognitive learning, which basically is the most sophisticated way of learning, in which results in some general knowledge and requires intelligence and active learning. And the third one we are mostly now focusing on is social learning, which basically means learning certain skills or behaviors through interaction with other people. This we will focus now on parents. So basically, as I said, social learning is basically learning in interaction with other people, and there are several ways we can of social learning. For example, there is modeling, imitation, vicarious learning, and symbolic learning. But now we will mostly focus on modeling, which is basically observing other person who is actively trying to teach you something. So, for example, when parents is trying to teach you how to ride a bike, he will show you or she will show you how to do that, and you will basically try to do the same.
Sorry, Mr. Dalbello, to interrupt you, but we can see the first slide of your presentation.
Oh, there is some.
Yeah, maybe if you will not use the presentation mode, then it can be better.
Okay, I will just then just a sec. I will then just share my like without slideshow. So maybe
yes.
Okay, so now we like I
yes, now we can
about
see
these types of learning. So basically, modeling is observing other person who is actively trying to teach you something. In this case, parents. So they can learn you some skills or behaviors by doing the same and teach you how to do it. In modeling, you need to understand the purpose of what you are learning. Unlike, for example, imitation, in which you don't have to understand it. But in modeling, which is the most common way of teaching children, it's important to understand that purpose. So from a sociological perspective, we can talk about socialization, actually, which basically means learning social norms and values through social interactions. Now, values usually are like concepts about what we see as valuable, and these are usually some prerequisites for any actually behavior, because each of our behavior is rooted in some certain values, and which are like some basic beliefs. And now also norms are usually some expectations from society. So and people who want in their adaptation to the society and to everyday function need to learn these norms to function properly according to the social rules. And both norms and values influence your behavior. So basically, what we are talking now is how to learn all of these norms and values. So how to socialize children through actually the means of modeling. And basically, why we are now talking about this, because parents usually are models to their children. They teach basically every skill by doing the same. Children do the same, and it's very important for parents to do that, because the relation between a child and the parent, especially in younger ages, basically extremely important. I mean, in first year of our development, we basically just learn how to trust others. That's the first basically thing babies learn, and they basically learn to trust their parents. And after that, they start exploring the world, and parents are basically the main adults there that are responsible for children's learning and socialization and adaptation to the everyday life. Then I'd like to touch some research about this topic. First, we have 9 meta-analysis. So basically, Wilder in 2014 made synthesis of 9 meta-analysis. Now, for you that might not know, meta-analysis is basically combining many research and showing their results. So basically, if you have like tens of researches, you can just merge these results in certain ways, so you have better conclusions. And this study actually made 9 meta-analysis, so it's a huge number of researchers and participants, and they get positive correlation between parental involvement and academic achievement. By involvement, of course, each study has different way how to define it, but usually it means like expectation from children for academic achievement, communication with children, homework assistance, establishing rules, and many other ways to be involved. And what the results showed is that there is a positive correlation between this involvement in almost every type of involvement, but the strongest one is between expectations for academic achievement and achievement itself. So basically, parents who set goals to their children, who expect, who believe in them, actually. I mean, it's very important motivation to believe that your parents believe in you, and that you can do something, and also that they expect you to do it. So they lead you to do it. It basically has the strongest correlations. These expectations basically reflect parents' beliefs and attitudes towards school and education. So it's important to have certain values, parental values about school and education. What's interesting is that the weakest correlation is between homework assistance and achievement, which is also can have some conclusions that maybe parents should not help too much their children with homework, because they need to learn how to be responsible for their own even failures. So basically, if they cannot do it, you need to find the way to do homework. So it's also but of course, it's still positive correlation. So parents definitely should help their children, but to some extent. There are other studies. So there is a review of the relationship between parental involvement and academic achievement that combines 75 studies. And they usually found small to medium positive correlations, and they're basically defined involvement as reading at home, holding high expectations, communication with children, encouragement and support. So basically children need to, again, to have support from their parents, to have a good relation with them, and to be believed in, basically, and to be stimulated to do something that is desirable. There is another meta-analysis on minority children's achievement, and they also found the positive correlation among all groups, which means that it's not really a matter of culture whether parental involvement will help a child to succeed, but universal rule. But there were some differences. For example, it's American study, so African Americans benefited the most from parental involvement, but Asians the least. So it's important to, especially for certain groups, to have like good parental involvement. And there are also some other more particular research in a Chilean study on 498, almost 500 parents. And that study also found that children whose parents have a low involvement have lower academic achievement. And there is a study from a Chinese study from also from 2009 that showed that for more than 4,000 participants, and it basically showed that parental involvement, which was defined as child communication, home supervision, homework help, emotional support, and parental expectations, is related to achievement. So again, the same results, very important to be involved. And again, homework supervision is actually the only aspect not consistently related. So we can have the same conclusion. Maybe children should, to some extent, take responsibility for these particular tasks. But for example, emotional support was the strongest correlate predictor, and they had very strong positive influence. So it's important to build good relations with children and to give them support with their some of their basic needs. And when it comes to types of involvement, they've mentioned 4 of them: supportive, basic, strict, and disengaged. And the supportive was found the best for good academic achievement, and disengaged was the worst. So basically, again, the more involvement, especially emotional involvement, was found very beneficial for children. But while the type of parenting that is least involved, such as disengaged, is the worst. Generally, there are like 4 parenting styles: authoritative, permissive, authoritarian, and uninvolved. And they the difference between them can be attributed to control and warmth. So basically, parents who are authoritative and authoritarian are high on control, while permissive and uninvolved are low on control. So they don't control their children that much. They don't set rules. They don't demanding. While emotionally warm parents are authoritative and permissive, while not emotionally warm are authoritarian and uninvolved. So there are 4 categories when you combine these factors. And what research pretty consistently show is that authoritative, so parents who are warm but also have set boundaries, is the best for most actually desirable goals, but including academic achievement. And I will show you now some research on that too. So there is a review of 39 studies that show that authoritative that by Mádl and contributors that show that authoritative parenting is the best for academic achievement. Also, there is like another research that proved that authoritative parenting is beneficial for higher academic achievement as well. But there is also the third research from 2018 that also found the same results, but they found that Hispanic families also benefit on a actually. In Hispanic families, authoritarian was also related to higher academic achievement. So generally, it's important to demand from children and to set them boundaries, but also in most studies show that emotional warmth is very important as well. Now, when it comes to family structure and academic achievement, it's very related to our topic because parents cannot, what the issue if children have one or two parents can be related to the level of emotional, the level of emotional connection and needs that are satisfied. So it's important to see this as well. So, for example, is in one research from 2008, that is called lack of academic achievement in the new family structure models. They found that well-structured and more traditional forms of family are related to more positive academic achievement. So basically, maybe the increase of single parents and other families might not be the most beneficial for children, but of course sometimes there is nothing we can do about this. Also, there is research from 2005 that found that family structure is related to academic achievement. In 1995, there is research that compared the grades and discipline of children from single family homes and like families with both parents, and they found that it reflects on their grades and discipline. So children benefit from having both parents and stable families. At the end, there is different research that gave us different results from 2000 that found out they didn't found any effects of family structure and academic achievement. So results aren't all the same. So different, but in science is not unusual because most of these are very complex issues, and there is also many sides. So it wasn't significant, but what was significant is expectations. So again, this research, even though it didn't confirm that family structure is related to achievement, they did confirm that expectations that parents set to their children is significant. So basically, maybe that's the reason why we had such results in other research. So what is also very interesting to me is one very interesting book from David Isaacs, who wrote about learning virtues. He wrote about many virtues, but the most important ones from our topic about academic achievement are persistence and responsibility. For example, persistence is basically means making all steps that are necessary to achieve certain goals in spite of inner or outer difficulties. So basically that's persistence. And there is a question how to reach persistence, how to teach children that virtue. So basically it's important to practice the virtue, and also proper motivation is also important. So what the author said is that in young children, they don't always see the reason why to do something, which is the problem. I mean, because if you don't know why to do something, you are not as motivated to do it. But it's logical to that, but they are just too young to understand some reasons to do some important things that parents demand from them. And it is logical for them to switch activities frequently, which is not good for developing persistence. But what you can do is encourage them to end every game they started, so to finish it to the end. Also to stick to promises they've made, so that's another way to teach them persistence. Also to do their homework and other things they have to do, and to, for example, to eat when it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, so to have some schedule in their day. So this way you will develop some habits that, and later, then when they are older, you can explain them the reasons why they had to do all this stuff, which is also very important. Also, he talked about setting goals. And in setting goals, you need to direct child's attention to that goal. So they need to understand what the goal is. They need to be informed about steps to know how to reach that goal. It's important. The goal must be interesting, or at least meaningful, I would say. Because if you don't know why to do something, you'll probably be not motivated to do it at all. I mean, that's something Viktor Frankl is also talked with frequently about, the importance of finding meaning, whatever you do. So it's important for children as well. And the goal also, the fourth thing is that goal must be possible. So you cannot set impossible goals to your kids. There's also similar theories in psychology that basically say the same. So that every goal must be measurable in time, like achievable, relevant, and understood how to do it. So there are many theories that basically say the same. Or very similar things. So basically, you need to do persistence with all of these ways. The second important virtue is responsibility, which basically means accepting consequences of our actions. I mean, we all have like freedom to do anything, but we also need to teach children how to be responsible for it. So how to understand the consequences of their actions. So the author, the Isaacs, basically said that young people are generally willing to do that, even though they don't always see that way. But they need to be aware of their responsibilities. And also what is useful is that if they're responsible to someone. So basically, I'm responsible to my parent who gave me this task, to my professor who gave me homework. So it's always useful to to know who are you responsible to. So basically, these are two virtues that are useful for children to learn. And now we might ask, to what degree is all of this parental responsibility? To what degree is academic achievement parental responsibility? Now, these are reasons for both. Again, I will not talk too much from from the perspective of law, because we had it in other presentations, but more from the perspective of psychology and maybe sociology. So basically, we have pros and cons basically for this. For on the one hand, parental involvement is related to achievement in many ways, as we saw in all of these research. And it's very important. So you, as a parent, you can really make a difference. And also, parents are older and can understand some things that children cannot, and they are in general responsible for children's well-being and to satisfy their needs. So basically, there are many reasons to say that parents are responsible for their children, and I believe they really are. On the other hand, the children also need to learn discipline and responsibility, so to understand the consequences. So there should always be, to some degree, some responsibilities parents for them. So parents need to give some responsibility to them, and children need to be responsible to their parents for all of these things they are responsible for. So I believe that generally parents are responsible for their children's achievement, but also they need to teach their children to be responsible as well. So here is my literature, and thank you for your attention.